and welcome to Furious Driving. Now don't turn off just yet. This is a review of an EV, a Chinese EV no less. But despite that, this might actually turn out to be quite interesting and entertaining. I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but this could be the one. So anyway, who are Geely, you might wonder? Well, Geely have been around since 1986, and they started out by actually making components for fridges. And that's really going to do nothing to help their case with the kind of people who call EVs milk floats and white goods. Sorry Geely, you didn't help yourself there. But since then they've grown massively, from motorbikes to cars. They're owning multiple car companies: Lotus, Volvo, Smart, LEVC, the taxi company, amongst many others. And now they're one of those huge EV car companies in China that we are very much unaware of over here until now. And in the last 12 months to 18 months or so, there's been just a ridiculous influx of new models, of new kinds of cars from people we've never heard of before. And they are taking the UK EV market by storm. But is there any substance beyond the very low buying in price? So this thing, it will set you back for the base model just under £32,000, and for this, the Max, the top of the range model, just under £37,000. So that might sound a lot of money if you're used to buying £1,000 clunkers, but in terms of new cars and EVs especially, that is ridiculously cheap, especially for a full-size family car. But I've been driving this thing for about a week and I'm pretty much used to it now, so I think I've worked out most of its quirks and features. So I'm going to go pull over somewhere, give it a recharge because I'm down to 50 miles, and then I'll talk you through the interior and a few of the good things and maybe a few bad things, because there are some things I do like a lot about this car, but there's other things which really have pushed me over the edge a little bit. But we'll go over that in a second. Now, because of the nature of these kind of cars, the modern EV segment, there's three segments I'm going to break this into. First of all, there's the lounge aspect, because a lot of the people buying these cars are buying them purely just to ferry the kids to school, to go to shops, to go to work. Then there's the driving aspect. What's it like as a car? Is it fun? Is it engaging? Is it a good thing to drive? Or does it just leave you feeling a bit meh? And finally, there's the whole new aspect that these cars suffer with, which is how do you interact with it? Because in the old days, it's, well, did they put the indicator in a sensible place? Now it's how much do you have to do on the screen? Where are the buttons? Does the infotainment work? And that is a huge part of the car. And when I posted this car on social media, that was the first question that kept on coming up over and over again. What's the ADAS like? How intrusive is it? So ADAS is the automated driver assist systems, lane keeping assist, speed awareness. How effective is it? How intrusive is it? And most importantly, how easy is it to turn off? Because let's face it, almost everybody, the moment they get into a new car with ADAS systems on it, the first thing they do is turn those things off, because generally speaking, they are rubbish, they are wrong, and they're going to cause you more trouble than they're worth. In this particular car, the lane keep assist is terrible. It is really intrusive. It wobbles the steering wheel, it pings. That lane we just drove down a moment ago, that's quite narrow. I've driven down there a couple of times in this car now, and every time, because the lane is so narrow, you're getting close to the edges on the left and the right fairly frequently, it is juddering the steering wheel and trying to pull you off into the trees in the other direction, phrasing, all the time. It's just dangerous. And the speed limit detection thing, again, it's very, very intrusive. It bongs quite loudly. I'm sure you've heard it already. And I know it's not the company's fault because they are mandated to put that stuff on there, but it is so infuriating. Yes, sometimes I am going to go 1, maybe even 2 miles an hour above the speed limit. Right now it thinks we're in a 40 zone. I don't know why. Every time I've driven down this dual carriageway, it started panicking because it thinks we're in a 40 right now. We're clearly not. And it's binging and bonging at me. Also, the anti-collision is a bit too proactive. I've been driving down a road with cars parked alternately on either side of the road, and as I've gone down it, it stood on the brakes for me because it's got confused and thought something was coming at us. And finally, for my things I've come up against with the automated assistance systems, it does have cross-traffic alert on the back. So if you're trying to reverse out of a parking space, it will judder and beep, and it'll put the brakes on so you don't reverse into moving traffic, which is actually a very good idea. Except at the local railway station, I pulled forward first into the railway station car park. As I went to leave, there was an awful lot of traffic going around. However, I wasn't trying to reverse onto the road, I was trying to reverse in the car park, but it was picking up the road traffic and it kept on putting the brakes on and wouldn't let me reverse out of the parking space. and that was a little bit annoying because I was stuck there for quite a while until I worked out to turn that off. Which brings me to, how do you turn it off? I won't do it on camera because it looks really dangerous doing it on the road, because it is. So once I'm parked, I'll show you how you turn this stuff off. Okay, the ADAS systems, they are quite intrusive, quite annoying, but what I find even more annoying is the fact that you can't just hold down 2 buttons for 3 seconds and it turns it all off, and it turns off for the day. You have to go into the menus, and you can't even do it when the car's not in motion or in gear. So you have to remember after you've started, and this is a long convoluted process, remember to put the car into gear and then do it. So in drive now I can turn lane keeping assist off. And because it's a screen, not a button, I'm randomly tapping in the area to try and get it. And my fingers aren't great with touchscreens at the best of times. So that was 3 taps to hit the X button to close the box. Let's do that from the beginning again. 1 button, 2 buttons, 3 pushes, 3 buttons, 4 buttons, 5 buttons, 6 buttons, bouncing around in a moving car. Then to turn off intelligent reminders, I don't want speed limit alert, so that's another couple of buttons. Confirm that, close that. This is so infuriating. Checking up on Reddit and the internet and things, apparently over-the-air update is coming to give you a keyboard shortcut for that, but that is inexcusably bad to make you have to do that every single time. And even if you just jump out the car for 2 seconds, when you get back in again, it will have reset it. So you'll drive off and then you'll have to go through the whole rigmarole again, which is really irritating. And since I'm now in rant mode, I may as well carry on, because this is really bad. As you can see, it's a very nice interior, except it's useless, because how do I do the basic stuff? How do I change the radio station? Push that, then that. And there's no haptic feedback. It's an ARM processor, it's pretty quick, but there's a minuscule delay, and it's long enough for me to think, because my fingers don't work great on touchscreens, it hasn't worked, so I'll wind up pushing it twice, and I'll wind up hitting radio 3, and who wants that? Likewise, trying to change things like the heated seats. On my C-Class, if I want to change the heated seat, there's a button just there by the door handle. You push it once to turn it on, keep on pressing it to turn the power down, and I can do that while I'm looking at the road. If I want to change the heated seat on here, I have to push that. Then I have to push that. Then I have to push that. And then I can choose what level I want. Same with the heated steering wheel. I'll come back to this because there's a lot of nice functions in here. However, they shouldn't be here. They should be on buttons that you can reach easily. Going back into the car mode is the light switch. If you want to turn the rear fog light on, it's not a button down here. Okay, admittedly, fog light buttons are normally quite hard to find. On this one, push the car icon, push the rear fog light icon. You're there. If you want to turn the headlights on, it's got auto headlights, which, let's face it, are a bit crap. And you see so many people driving around with just their daylight running lights on, because auto headlights don't really work that well on any car. A miserable day like this today, it's not that dark, but it's very grey, very flat, and you really do want your headlights on. Same with a bit of dull mist or a bit of light rain. You don't just turn the end of this or you move this. You've got to go back into the car menu, hit lights, then choose dip headlights, and that doesn't do it on its own. You've got to push a slider to turn the headlights on. Off, because this is dangerous and it's bad. It's not user friendly, and it makes you not look at the road for way too long. It is beyond infuriating. I don't even know how to open the sunroof. Sunroof shade fully open. Here we go. There we go. And again, slider for that. So yes, it's a nice interior, but it's marred by the fact that everything goes to this stupid system and makes you have to use that. Now, your first interaction with the car is this key, the little pebble you get, which is very smooth, quite cool. Although, one thing that does bug me a little bit, you can't put this on your keyring, and it's quite chunky, so you really do feel it in your pocket, and you can't attach it to your door keys. So when you lock the car, the door handles and the mirror do retract. Unlock it again and it pops out. retracting. This gives it a drag coefficient of 0.294 or something. If you look back to the Calibra, as people of my day will remember, that had drag coefficient of 0.29, so it's basically a Calibra in terms of drag coefficient. As you walk up to the car, it will sense that key and it will unlock it for you. So ideally, if you time it right, the door handle will present itself to your hand as you arrive. Most of the time that works out fine, unless it's absolutely tipping rain, when it's just a little bit too slow for my liking. You're standing there getting wet. Now, inside the car, the lounge aspect is really rather impressive. It's quite a nice place to be. Now, the thing you notice is that although it is many shades of silver and grey, it's a lot of soft touch and tactile materials, so it does feel nice when you're in here. We've got elephant hide, which is sort of softy rubbery up the top. We've got a bit of piano black here, got the satin chrome door handle. It looks metally, but really it feels plasticky. This door handle, door grab thing is a little bit strange. It swoops up here and down there, and then reappears down there as an opening, so you can either pull it here, which doesn't really work, or here, which is a little bit tight. You've got 4 electric windows, obviously, and they are privacy glass in the back. But this whole area is quite interestingly sculpted with a little bit of extra fine detail and lots of soft touch. This is very, very soft touch indeed, quite heavily padded. Big storage bin down there, large bottle holder down there, which is useful. I'll come back to why in a second. We've got one of our speakers down here, and this is part of the Flyme sound, which I believe is referencing a Scottish coastal area, or possibly Flymo sound, I'm not quite sure. Anyway, this is the max version, so it gets the 1000 watt 16 speaker system, and these look very cool, very Bang & Olufsen presenting the sound on the audio stage. It's a very clear, very crisp audio system. It sounds very nice, but I really can't find enough bass in it, and also not enough volume. If you really want to crank the tunes, it's great for high notes, it's great for spoken word, but anything with heavy bass doesn't really kind of pump it as much as you really want to. Anyway, that's my musical critique of the car. But because the shell is so stiff, it does give you actually very, very good sound staging, so that's something positive. I mentioned things are soft touch in this car. Everything is very soft touch. This is pretend leather, pleather, which looks really cool. We've got the perforations, we've got this flowing waterfall pattern. We've even got speakers in the headrests on the Max version with this upgrade system. And mirroring the large logo into the small logo, we've got this little badge down here. These seats look very premium. They feel very nice as well. The material does have that slight vinyl-y feel to it, but for this price point, I'm not complaining, and they are very supportive, very comfortable, and they're electrically movable. And this is quite cool. As you tweak them around, it asks, do you want to save or restore or ignore? So if you just made that perfect adjustment to your seat, you can tap that and suddenly it'll remember it, and it does it for the passenger side as well. But there are lots of really cool functions in here. We've got massage seats, for goodness sake, and it even appears to have a footrest for the passenger seat, although a week in I still can't figure out how you'd move that. Now, important question, you're asking yourself, what's the T-shelf like? The answer is impressive. A lot of T-shelf-free. It's a slight slope, so be careful where you park it, and also don't park your cup on a speaker. That would be a bad thing to do. But that T-shelf-free up there is good. This T-shelf-free down here is bad. It comes with tin cup holders here in the centre console, but they are very, very small indeed, and they're very close together, so if you've got a cup with a handle, you can't put 2 cups with a handle in there. And it's stuck again. Oh god, that's not great. And this is the biggest cup I can put in there. Luckily I had the Spirito di Punto cup to hand. My Yeti cup or my other cups will not fit in this cup holder. That's important tea related information. Anyway, back to the car itself. The seat's very comfortable, very supportive. The dashboard, all soft touch and looking very cool the way it swoops around here, giving you a nice independent area from each other. We've got 256 colours of ambient lighting circulating the car. It's blue at the moment. And this soft touch area continues under the big screen. It carries on over here, and the steering wheel is very nice. It's just almost a quartic steering wheel we've got here. It's got a soft touch, a bit like the seats, kind of vinyl-y feel. It's quite tactile, quite nice. It is heated. We've got controls for cruise control, for audio, spoken controls, which I haven't quite made work yet. We've got this quite cool strip across the front of the dashboard, which is kind of satin chrome and black with the air vents in them, air vents down in the centre, and we've got this kind of cool flowing area of textured, almost like silver bark coming down here with these little lines running through it, and a big control wheel, a bit like an iDrive in a BMW, but mostly for volume. It does do other things, most notably changing your screensaver. It's like Windows 95 all over again. Underneath the silver birch down here, we've got a large area which can be used for storing many things, big enough for an iPad. It's got USB-C, A and a 12-volt outlet socket in there. And up above, we've got a wireless charging pad just here and a big storage area in there. Up above, and I have to admit, it took me 2 days to realise this car has got a sunroof on it. And that is a full-length panoramic roof available on the Max option. Now we've got a shockingly small number of controls to physically interact with in here. On the stalks, Mercedes style, we have got a park neutral drive reverse switch, so your fingertip on your right hand for changing direction. And on the left we've got our wipers front and rear, and a little infuriatingly, this pictogram here. Main beam headlights on, auto headlights. Where? Auto headlights are just auto headlights. It turns out, and this is drifting into the car aspect of the car, you can't turn the headlights on without going into a menu. Now, clambering into the back, we've got the same pulley out door handle. We've got a huge flat floor. This is absolutely amazing space. If you've got a couple of 6-footers travelling with you, they will find space in the back. There's loads of legroom. This is the driving seat, not in my position. It actually slides back when you turn the car off so that you can get out in and out more easily. And that's in the back position, and there's still a ton of legroom. Completely flat across here. We've got a little tray down there. We've got ventilation. We've got USB A and C. And underneath the back seat, we've got a 14-litre storage tray which slides out so kids can put headphones, Game Boys, hide stuff securely in the back of the car when you're leaving it, when you're parking it. Just a really good way of keeping the car tidy and carrying more stuff. Additionally, rear seat passengers get a kind of slidey-in bottle / cup holder area in this big cubby just there, and we've got an armrest with 2 more cup holders in the centre. Again, they look a little bit on the tight side though. In total, as well as the 16 loudspeakers, in fact there are 2 in this door right next to me, there are 33 cubby areas for storage inside the cabin of this thing. So in terms of family amenities, it is very well appointed, apart from the cup holders. Now, if you don't have the key on you, the release for the boot is down here, along with the reversing camera, which also gets dirty quite quickly. The boot though is pretty commodious. It's 410 litres of space with the seats up, 1877 litres with the seats down, and lurking underneath this double height floor, in fact it's a triple height floor where you can adjust it to, we have a well which is another 50 or so litres. Charging cable is lurking down there. You can set this floor to that level to give you a bit more space. You've got a restraining area on the side, you've got curry hooks, you've got lights, you've got more speakers from the Flymo system. Yeah, all in all, pretty decent. Okay, so the outside of the Geely, it is, well, inoffensive. It was designed in Geely's Milan design studio, so the heart of good design, beauty and art, and the surfacing is inspired by porcelain, and you can kind of see the smooth sculpted shapes of it. However, you can also see elements of a bit of Volvo, a bit of Smart, a bit of Porsche Cayenne at the back. Not to be unkind to Geely, it's not the most memorable shape in the world, and painting it in grey doesn't make it stand out anymore. I've picked my son up 3 times so far this week in it, and 2 times he's walked straight past me. Those were the second 2 times. It's not a shape that's going to upset anyone. At the front we've got the kind of typical EV styling which is started by Tesla, with a smooth nose which swoops down, no grille because you don't need one, active aero grille giving cooling or better aerodynamics as required at the front, slim full LED headlights, fairly large wheels, tall crossover design because apparently we like that. Unlike rivals like the Ford Explorer, has actually got roof rails. If you want to put a roof tent on this thing and go camping, if you want to take a roof rack and put bikes on there, you can make it into a practical, outdoorsy, useful kind of a car, which some of its more mainstream European rivals you can't do on. Now, this rear 3/4 shape though, I've seen this on so many SUVs now. It's not unattractive, but it's not standout, which I think actually is what they were shooting for. They wanted a non-fussy, non-frivolous style, which will work absolutely everywhere in the world. This is a new car to UK and Europe. It has been out since 2024 in China and other parts of the world already. Okay, so we've established that the interior is actually a very, very nice place to be in, very comfortable. The infotainment is loaded with stuff, but quite annoying. But what's it like to drive as an actual car? Well, this has 218 PS or horsepower and 320 Newton meters of torque. Lots and lots of power. Not an astronomical amount, but certainly a good usable everyday amount. That gives it a 0 to 60 of 6.9 seconds in the two lower trim levels and 7.1 in the slightly heavier max version. When you're pulling away from the line, especially on a damp day, it struggles to put that down and it will spin a wheel and panic a little bit. In and pulling onto a dual carriageway situation, it's very usable indeed, because all that torque and power is available from 0 to the end, and so it's always there no matter what speed. So once you're rolling, it's really good. The powertrain is Geely's 11-in-1 integrated motor system. So the motor, the charger, the inverter, the BMS, everything. It's all in one 79.8 kilogram unit sitting under the bonnet at the front, making it a front-wheel drive only car. And because all of that stuff is in one compact area, making it all nice and tight and small, it means that the rest of the car is free to be, well, just doing car stuff really. The battery is a C2B or CTB or cell to body. Basically, like on BYDs, they've integrated the battery into the shape of the shell of the body, giving the car more stiffness and giving more protection to the battery cells. And if you're worried about the safety and security of the crash intrusion or those batteries becoming damaged, the sills and the frame of the car, the A post, the B post, C post, and all that kind of stuff is made from a mix of high tensile, ultra high tensile, very strong steels, giving it a super strong safety cage. And they've worked out a crash system that isolates the battery in 39 milliseconds if the car detects it's been in a crash. Now the important question, has it got the range? Well, yeah, kinda. It's an okay range, but not that impressive for a car in this particular size and class. It's got a 60 usable kilowatt hour battery, and on the two lower range cars that'll give you 267 miles on this, to max 255 because there's more stuff going on, which is just about okay. The thing is, its two nearest rivals, the Elrock and the Kia EV3, which are smaller cars but a similar price, they'll both do about 100 miles more on a full charge. Speaking of charging, it'll accept 160 kilowatt charging. It reckons it'll do a 30 to 80 charge in about 20 minutes. And in fairness, I just rocked up and bought myself a coffee and filmed the front dashboard walk around video while it put more than that in just a few minutes. If you're home charging on a 7 kilowatt charger, it'll go from 10 to 100% in about 6 hours. And because all models have got a built-in charger, you can use 3-phase charging if you happen to have that at work or something. If you're using the Geely app, you can actually program your charging parameters to take advantage of your best off-peak power and charging tariffs, and use it to precondition the cabin to heat or cool it before you get in while it's still connected to the mains, which is a great idea for saving battery power later on in the day. And that's not all. It also has vehicle to load, which means you can plug stuff into it. So if you're camping and want to plug a kettle or something into your car, you can do that. If you want to charge your e-bike for an adventure into the mountains, you can do that as well. If you're someone who works on site, you can use it to run your tools. So yeah, lots of very useful ability to do that with vehicle to load. Although do bear in mind, it's only a 60 kilowatt hour battery, so yeah, don't use it too much or you might be walking home. So we do have some useful driver aids. We've got a top-down camera and reverse camera, which makes manoeuvring quite easy because it's a little bit hard to see down to the edges of the car and work out where you're going with things when you're manoeuvring. And the turning circle, I'm not sure what the number of feet or meters is. It does look a bit wide when you're trying to squeak around tight obstacles and park it. Now the handling apparently has been optimised by Geely UK at their Coventry design or handling workshop. It's got a very old school SUV feel to it. Compared to so many modern SUVs, it feels very, very soft, bouncy almost. Like the first time I drove a Freelander 1 back in about 25 years ago, and it had the big wheel option. You could kind of feel the wheels bouncing on the end of the axles. It kind of feels like that. As you go over the bumps and things, it kind of judders and boings around at you. Generally it is quite comfortable, but when you get on a motorway, although it's smooth, you do have a certain undulating ship on the sea kind of a feel going on. So it is a little bit bouncy in comparison with some of its rivals. You know, it's softly sprung. It's got McPherson strokes at the front. It's got multi-link suspension at the back. So it's neutral handling, but soft. It's not necessarily a bad thing in a family car. You don't perhaps want a hard thumping ride, knocking your kids' juice drinks over in the back seat. But that combined with a relative lack of feedback from the steering wheel gives it a slightly wooden driving experience that, if you're looking for an exciting, interesting drive, isn't particularly going to be floating your boat. But if you're after an inexpensive car, which can be had for as little as £240 a month on lease, just to trundle to the shops and back, to trundle to the office and back, and maybe charge for free at the office, then it works in that respect. It's not an unpleasant place to be. If you can live with the touchscreen everything, and if you can live with the interfering ADAS, then yes, it does kind of make sense. If you want, though, a car that stands out in the car park, a car that's more dynamically exciting, a car that you can actually use buttons on because you hate touchscreens, this probably isn't going to be for you. But what it does so well, though, is be very, very well equipped for the price. So overall, it's a comfortable if unexciting car. It's very good value and it's very well equipped, and honestly, sorry Mr. Guinea Pig, this area here just infuriates the hell out of me, and I just want a bank of buttons down here. It does keep monitoring you, and I do keep looking away from the windscreen to try and find how to do basic functions on there, and that isn't good. So thank you, Geely, for loaning me this for a few days to get my first experience of this model. If you've enjoyed this, please, as always, hit like and of course subscribe, and join us again next time driving something completely different.